It's official. Cadillac will be on the Formula One grid in 2026. After years of speculation, debate and negotiations, F1 has finally confirmed that an 11th team will be joining the sport, backed by one of America's biggest automotive giants, General Motors. This is a massive moment for Formula One. The sport has seen a surge in popularity over the last decade, particularly in the United States, and Cadillac's arrival is a clear sign of how far F1 has come. The presence of a true American factory-backed team, something Haas never fully embraced, marks a new era for American involvement in the sport. But can Cadillac dominate F1? Or will this be the biggest flop in motorsport history? The long road to approval. You might be wondering why it took so long for General Motors to secure its spot in F1. After all, Cadillac's name has been floating around the F1 rumor mill for over a year now. The reality is that their journey to the grid has been filled with setbacks, negotiations, and even political pressure. Initially, General Motors attempted to enter the sport through a partnership with Andretti Global, a legendary name in American racing. The plan was simple. Andretti would provide the racing pedigree, while GM would offer the financial backing and technical expertise under the Cadillac brand. But when Andretti submitted their bid to join F1 as an 11th team, they were met with firm resistance. Formula One outright rejected the bid, citing a lack of value for the sport. The reasoning? Andretti might be a household name in the US, but globally they lacked the recognition and prestige that F1 was looking for in a new entrant. F1 made it clear that they weren't interested in adding teams just for the sake of expansion. Any new team had to bring something significant to the table. That's where Cadillac stepped in. Unlike Andretti, Cadillac is an established global brand with a long history in motorsports. F1 saw the potential value in having a powerhouse like General Motors directly involved in the sport, rather than just partnering with an existing team. But even then, approval wasn't immediate. What finally tipped the scales was Cadillac's commitment to developing its own proper unit in the future. Unlike Haas, which buys almost everything from Ferrari, GM pledged to become a full-fledged engine manufacturer in F1, proving that they weren't just in it for show. There was also outside pressure on F1's decision. Reports surfaced that the US Department of Justice had launched an investigation into whether F1 was unfairly blocking new teams. While it's unclear how much that influenced the final decision, it certainly didn't hurt Cadillac's chances. The reality of being the new team. Getting into Formula One was a battle, but staying in it is an entirely different challenge. Historically, new teams in F1 have struggled badly. It's a sport where even established teams with decades of experience and hundreds of millions in funding still struggle to break into the top 5. For Cadillac, the road ahead is brutally tough. In F1, experience is everything. Teams like Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes have spent years refining their operations, developing their cars, and gathering thousands of hours of data. Cadillac, on the other hand, is starting from scratch. No matter how much money they throw at the project, there are no shortcuts to success in F1. Just look at the last wave of new teams that entered the sport in 2010. HRT, Caterham, and Manor. None of them survived. They were constantly at the back of the grid, unable to compete with more established teams, and eventually all three collapsed under financial pressure. Even Haas, which had a much stronger foundation when it entered in 2016, has never finished higher than 5th in the Constructors' Championship and regularly struggles to keep up with the midfield. Cadillac is entering at a time when the financial barriers are higher than ever. The cost cap helps level the playing field somewhat, but the top teams still have an edge thanks to their massive infrastructure and expertise. Cadillac will need to invest heavily in facilities, personnel, and research just to get close to the midfield. Simply put, history is not on Cadillac's side. They've got the funding, they've got the ambition, but whether they can turn that into actual on-track results is a completely different question. The car. Even if Cadillac manages to navigate the financial and political landscape of F1, they still have to build a car that can compete. And that might be their biggest challenge yet. F1 cars are among the most technologically advanced machines on the planet. Every part, from the aerodynamics to the suspension, is optimized to the smallest degree. The top teams have spent years refining their designs using state-of-the-art wind tunnels and cutting-edge simulation technology. Cadillac, on the other hand, is starting from zero. Their biggest disadvantage is time. While Red Bull, Mercedes and Ferrari are already deep into their 2026 car development, Cadillac is still setting up its operations. They'll be playing catch-up from day one, and in F1, that's a dangerous place to be. The technical regulations for 2026 will introduce major changes to aerodynamics and power units, meaning every team is essentially starting fresh. But the established teams still have a massive advantage when it comes to adapting quickly. Then there's the question of engineering expertise. Building a competitive F1 car requires the best designers, aerodynamicists and engineers in the world. Cadillac will need to recruit top talent, but most of the best minds in F1 are already locked into long-term contracts with other teams. That means Cadillac could end up with a less experienced technical staff, which could set them back even further. Aerodynamics will be a major hurdle. The 2026 regulations will introduce active aero elements and changes to car dimensions, making it one of the biggest shifts in F1 design in years. Cadillac needs to not only understand these new regulations, but also develop a car that can maximize performance within them. For a brand new team with no prior F1 experience, that's an enormous task. Another issue is reliability. Many new teams struggle with getting their cars to last an entire race, let alone compete for points. Without years of testing data, Cadillac could face significant issues with cooling, component durability, and overall race performance. And finally, there's the sheer pace of development in F1. Even if Cadillac manages to build a decent car for its debut, it'll need to continuously upgrade it throughout the season to keep up with the competition. That requires a strong in-season development program, something that even experienced teams sometimes struggle with. So, can Cadillac build a competitive F1 car? The short answer, it won't be easy. Their first few seasons will likely be spent at the back of the grid, learning the ropes and refining their operations. The driver dilemma. If building a competitive F1 car wasn't hard enough, Cadillac has an even bigger problem. Finding not just one, but two elite drivers to take their cars onto the grid in 2026. This isn't like other motorsports, where you can just sign a talented driver and expect results. F1 is a different beast, and the best drivers are already locked into long-term contracts with the top teams. Cadillac is entering the sport at a disadvantage when it comes to recruitment. They don't have a track record in F1, meaning they can't offer drivers proven race-winning machinery. Top-tier drivers like Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris aren't going to leave their championship-contending teams to take a gamble on a brand-new entry. That leaves Cadillac looking at the midfield reserve drivers, or even non-F1 talent from IndyCar and other series. One obvious option is an experienced F1 driver who's currently without a seat or might be looking for a change. Valtteri Bottas, Sergio Perez and Mick Schumacher are names that have been floating around. But would they be willing to step into a car that's likely to struggle in its first few seasons? Even if Cadillac manages to land a veteran, their second driver becomes an even trickier decision. If they go for an American driver to strengthen their brand identity, that limits their operations even further. Logan Sargent, the only current American F1 driver, hasn't exactly set the world on fire with his performances at Williams. Cadillac could look at young talents like Jack Crawford or even attempt to poach a Formula 2 star. But signing a rookie is always a risk, especially for a brand new team. The long road ahead. Even if Cadillac somehow manages to put together a solid driver lineup and develop a decent car, that's just at the beginning. Success in Formula 1 doesn't happen overnight. It takes years of refinement, testing and development to climb up the grid. The next few years will be crucial. If they get it right, we could be witnessing the rise of a future powerhouse. If they get it wrong, they'll just be another name on the long list of failed F1 projects. But what do you think? Does Cadillac have a place in F1 racing? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell for more insane videos from the F1 Racing Newsroom.